I used to think love could protect me from anything. That if I held on tight enough, the world would bend for me and the person I loved. But the night I lost Liam proved I was wrong. The academy courtyard smelled like wet pine after the afternoon rain. Students hurried past, umbrellas clicking open as thunder rolled somewhere beyond the hills. I stood under the old oak tree behind the music hall, my heart pounding so hard it felt like everyone could hear it. That tree had always been ours, Liam's and mine. Hidden enough that no one would notice when the alpha heir of the Blackthorn group met a lowborn Omega like me. When he finally appeared through the drizzle, tall and calm as ever, my whole world seemed to slow down. His uniform jacket clung to his shoulders, his dark hair damp, grey eyes searching until they found me. He smiled then, small, soft, the kind of smile that made me forget how dangerous our secret was. "You waited," he said, his deep voice cutting through the rain. "I always do." He reached out, brushing a raindrop from my cheek with the pad of his thumb. "You're shaking. Did something happen?" I wanted to say no, to stay in that quiet moment where he looked at me like I was worth something. But the truth clawed up my throat. My father found out about us. Liam's expression shifted immediately. "How?" "I don't know. Maybe someone saw us last week." My voice cracked. He said I've shamed the family. He made a deal with another house. They want me to marry their beta son next month. The words tasted like acid. Liam's jaw tightened. "They can't force you. You're of age, you can choose." "Not in my family." I laughed bitterly. "To them, I'm property. A bargaining chip." He stepped closer, eyes burning with anger. "Then we'll leave. Tonight. I have enough money. We can disappear until—" "Liam, stop." I cut him off, my heart splitting at the desperation in his voice. "You don't understand what your father will do if he finds out. The Blackthorns crush anyone who crosses them. If you run away with an Omega, you'll lose everything." He cupped my face, firm but gentle. "I don't care about the company. I care about you." And I believed him, gods I did. For one beautiful, terrifying heartbeat, I almost said yes. I almost told him to take me anywhere, as long as it was far from here. Then my phone buzzed. A message from my brother lit up the screen. "Don't do anything stupid. He's watching you." My stomach dropped. My father had men following me already. If I ran, they wouldn't just come after me. They'd go after Liam, too. The thought of him being destroyed because of me twisted my insides. I forced myself to step back. "No." Liam frowned. "No. This was a mistake," I whispered. "You and me. It was never going to last." His eyes widened, confusion flashing into hurt. "What are you talking about? You think I loved you?" I said, forcing every lie through trembling lips. "I just wanted attention. You were convenient." He froze like I'd hit him. "You don't mean that." "I do." I bit down on the inside of my cheek, so hard I tasted blood. "I don't love you, Liam. I never did." For a long moment, he just stared. Rain slid down his face, mixing with the tears he wouldn't let fall. Finally, he said quietly, "If that's what you want, then I won't chase you." He turned and walked away, each step heavy, final. I waited until he disappeared behind the school gates before collapsing against the tree, sobbing into the thunder. The wedding happened 3 weeks later. They dressed me in a silver suit I didn't choose, placed flowers in my hair, and smiled for the cameras as if I were lucky. The beta I married barely looked at me. He was polite, cold, business-minded. My father beamed like he'd won a prize. That night, as I stared at the stranger beside me, I realized something inside me had died. Months crawled by. My husband was gone most days, traveling for work, leaving me alone in a big, silent house. I tried to be the perfect spouse, obedient, invisible, numb. Then one morning, I woke dizzy and nauseous. At first, I thought it was stress. But when the symptoms didn't stop, I went to a small clinic in the neighboring district. The nurse smiled kindly after the test results printed. "Congratulations, you're expecting." My world tilted. I stumbled out of the clinic clutching the paper, my breath coming in short gasps. It couldn't be. My husband and I had never. And then I remembered, the last night with Liam. The way he'd kissed me goodbye before everything fell apart, his scent warm and fierce around me. The baby inside me was his. I pressed a trembling hand to my stomach, tears blurring the streetlights. A life. His life. But joy quickly turned to fear. If my family found out, they'd know the child carried alpha blood. They'd see value, not life. I'd seen what they did to Omegas who didn't obey. I couldn't let them have him. That night, I packed a small bag, cash, clothes, the pendant Liam had once given me. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen table and slipped into the darkness before dawn. I didn't even take a coat. The years that followed were the hardest of my life. I changed cities twice, names once. I worked anywhere that paid, cleaning offices, serving tea, sewing uniforms. Anything that kept me invisible. When my son, Eli, was born, everything painful suddenly made sense. He had my hair soft brown, but his eyes grey like storm clouds after rain. Liam's eyes. He was quiet, always watching, always smiling up at me as if to say we're okay, Mommy. And for a while we were. Until I noticed something strange. Eli's scent was stronger than any Omega child's should be. Sometimes people in the market would pause, turning their heads like they'd caught a whiff of something rare. I doubled his suppressants, kept him indoors, but whispers started spreading. Then, one evening, my past came knocking. I opened the door to find my brother standing there, grinning. Long time, little Omega. Cold dread crawled down my spine. How did you find me? Father's been looking. Turns out you ran off with something valuable. His gaze slid to Eli, who clung to my leg. That boy, he's special, isn't he? Alpha blood, I'd bet anything. Leave us alone, I said, voice shaking. He laughed. You think you can hide forever? There are people willing to pay fortunes for children like him. You owe the family, Noah. It's time to repay your debt. Before I could respond, he was gone, leaving behind a business card with an address scribbled on it. That night I barely slept. Every creak of the house sounded like footsteps coming for us. By morning, I knew I had no choice. If I stayed, they'd take Eli. If I ran again, they'd keep hunting us. I needed protection, real protection, from someone powerful enough to make my family back off forever. And there was only one name that came to mind. Liam Blackthorne. The alpha I had broken. The man I once loved more than life itself. I hadn't seen him in years, but his name was everywhere. Business magazines, news broadcasts, whispers of how ruthless he'd become. The cold alpha CEO of Blackthorne Industries. People said he had no weaknesses. No mercy. They were wrong. He used to have me. As I packed a small suitcase, Eli looked up at me sleepy-eyed. Mommy, where are we going? I forced a smile. Somewhere safe, baby. Save us. The morning bus to the city was almost empty. I held Eli close, watching the fog roll over the fields. My hands trembled, not from the cold, but from everything I was about to face. Would he even recognize me? Would he hate me for what I'd done? Maybe. But if it meant saving our son, I'd face him 1,000 times. As the skyline came into view, I whispered into Eli's hair, We're going to find someone who once promised to protect us. The child yawned softly, unaware of the storm waiting ahead. And deep inside, I prayed that the cold alpha I left behind still had enough warmth left to. The city felt bigger than I remembered. Taller, louder. Every building reaching for the clouds like it was trying to escape the earth. I held Eli's small hand tightly as we stood outside the glass tower of Blackthorne Industries, the name gleaming in silver above us. He tilted his head, eyes wide. Papa, is this where the strong people work? I forced a small smile. Yes, baby. Very strong people. Especially one. My chest tightened as I looked up at the tall windows. Somewhere inside that building was Liam. The boy I'd once loved with my whole heart. The alpha I'd betrayed. It had been 5 years. Would he even remember my face? Inside, the lobby was like something out of another world. Marble floors, black and gold decor, and people in expensive suits walking with purpose. My simple clothes and second-hand shoes made me feel painfully out of place. The receptionist glanced up from her computer, polite but distant. Do you have an appointment? My voice wavered. I need to see Mr. Blackthorne. It's urgent. She frowned. Mr. Blackthorne doesn't take unscheduled visitors. If you'll please. Please, I interrupted, desperation leaking into my tone. Tell him Noah Vale is here. At that name, something flickered in her eyes. Surprise, maybe. She hesitated before picking up the phone and speaking quietly. After a tense minute, she looked up. Mr. Blackthorne said, Send him up. My stomach dropped. He remembers. I clutched Eli's hand tighter as we stepped into the elevator. The metallic doors closed, trapping us in a small world of mirrors and silence. My reflection looked pale, older, more tired than I remembered. Eli looked up at me, sensing my nerves. Papa, are you scared? I forced a smile. A little. But I'll be okay. We'll be okay. The elevator chimed. Floor 47. When the doors slid open, the air felt colder. The hallway was lined with frosted glass and black paneling. At the end stood a pair of tall mahogany doors, slightly open. Mr. Blackthorne is expecting you, said the assistant who appeared out of nowhere. My heart pounded as I stepped forward. And then I saw him. Liam Blackthorne stood near the window, back turned, sunlight outlining his tall frame. He wore a black suit that fit him like it was made from shadow itself. His hair was shorter now, neatly styled, but those shoulders, that posture, it was still him. He didn't turn when he spoke. "You shouldn't be here." His voice was calm, deep, and sharper than I remembered. It sliced through the quiet like a blade. My voice cracked. I didn't know where else to go. Finally, he turned. Our eyes met, and the air left my lungs. The same grey eyes. Cold now, unreadable. But underneath the ice, I caught a flicker of something. Pain. Recognition. Maybe even anger. "Noah," he said softly, almost like the name hurt him. "Liam." For a long moment, we just stared at each other. I wanted to run to him, to explain, to beg for forgiveness. But I couldn't move. His presence pinned me in place like gravity itself. His gaze shifted downward. "Who's the boy?" I froze. "He's my son." Eli peeked out from behind my leg, clutching my sleeve. "Hi, sir." Liam's eyes softened for a second, then hardened again. "Your husband couldn't come?" My breath hitched. "I don't have a husband." His jaw flexed. "Then whose child is he?" The question hung heavy between us. I wanted to tell him the truth right there, but the words refused to come out. Instead, I whispered, "Please, Liam. My family found us. They're trying to take him away. They want to sell him. He's special, and they know it. I need your help." I didn't know who else to turn to. His eyes darkened, dangerous. "Sell him?" I nodded, tears pricking my eyes. "Please. I'll do anything. Just protect him. Protect my son." For a moment, he said nothing. Then he slowly walked toward me, each step deliberate, heavy. The closer he got, the more I trembled. He stopped just inches away. His scent, crisp pine and smoke, hit me like a memory I couldn't escape. "Why come to me, Noah?" he said quietly. "You had years to ask for help. You made your choice." "I know," I whispered, shaking. "I was stupid. I was scared. But right now, my son's life is in danger. I can't lose him. Please. I'll pay you back somehow, I swear." Suddenly, he grabbed my wrist. Not rough, but firm enough to make me stop talking. "Stop." I froze. His eyes searched mine, cold but burning. "Do you still lie to me the same way you did back then?" My throat tightened. "Liam, He let go and turned away, running a hand through his hair. "You broke me, Noah. You said you never loved me. You made me believe it." "I had to," I choked out. "My family threatened you. They had people watching us. If I ran, they would have." He slammed his hand on the desk, making me flinch. "You should have trusted me." The silence that followed was suffocating. I wanted to reach out to him, to tell him everything. The nights I cried myself to sleep. The morning I found out I was pregnant. The years I spent hiding, just to keep our son alive. But how could I, when his eyes looked at me like I was a stranger? Eli tugged my sleeve gently. "Papa, are we staying here?" Liam's gaze shifted to him again. For a long second, he didn't move. Then, in a voice quieter than before, he asked, "What's your name, little one?" "Eli." His eyes softened. "How old are you, Eli?" 4. I saw it happen. The quick calculation behind Liam's eyes. The flash of realization. 4 years old. The exact number of years since we last saw each other. His eyes shot back to mine. "Noah." I couldn't speak. My lips trembled. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. He stepped closer. "Is he?" I swallowed hard, tears spilling down my cheeks. "Yes." He closed his eyes briefly, taking a slow, unsteady breath. When he opened them again, the cold alpha mask was gone. What replaced it was raw emotion. Hurt, disbelief, and something else. Something dangerously close to love. The silence that followed felt heavy enough to crush me. Liam stood still, his grey eyes fixed on me, as if the world had stopped turning. I could see the storm building behind them. Disbelief, betrayal, pain. All of it crashing together like waves ready to drown us both. Eli clung to my pant leg, looking up curiously. He didn't understand what was happening, but I could feel his small body trembling. I crouched down and wrapped my arms around him, whispering softly, "It's okay, baby. Everything's fine." But it wasn't. When I looked back up, Liam was still staring at us. Only now, he wasn't just angry. He looked broken. "He's mine," he said at last, his voice low and rough. I opened my mouth to speak, but no sound came out. He took a step forward, the air around him shifting, heavier. "All these years, you kept him from me?" "I had to," I whispered. "Liam, please." "Had to." He laughed, short and bitter. "You had to disappear, had to lie, Had to raise my son alone while I thought you moved on with another man? His voice cracked, just slightly, and that hurt more than if he'd shouted. Do you know what it did to me, Noah? Watching you vanish like I never mattered. I thought they'd kill you. I finally burst out. You don't understand what my family is capable of. They already controlled everything I did. They said if I didn't marry the beta, they'd ruin you and your father's company. I couldn't risk your life. He shook his head, gripping the edge of his desk until his knuckles went white. You should have trusted me to fight for us. Tears blurred my vision. I did trust you. That's why I left. If they couldn't find me, they couldn't hurt you. He looked away, chest heaving, as though trying to hold himself together. The silence stretched again, filled with things neither of us dared to say. Finally, he spoke, quieter this time. Why now? Why come back after all this time? I swallowed hard. Because they found us. My family knows about Eli. They want to take him, sell him to some private lab. They said he's special, a rare Omega child. I tried running again, but my voice broke. They won't stop this time. Liam's jaw clenched. For the first time, fear flickered across his eyes, not for himself, but for our son. Did they hurt you? He asked. Not yet, I whispered. But they will, if I don't do something. He moved then, coming around the desk, his steps slow and purposeful. I instinctively tensed, but he stopped a few feet away, studying me closely. You want protection, he said. Yes. You're asking me to risk my power, my name, everything, for the person who lied to me. My breath caught. If it were just me, I'd never ask. But for Eli, I'll kneel if I have to. Liam's eyes darkened. Don't. The word came out rough, almost a growl. I froze. He exhaled sharply, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Don't ever kneel to me again, Noah. The sound of my name in his voice, soft this time, tired, sent a pang through my chest. He turned toward the window, hands in his pockets, staring down at the city far below. For a long while he said nothing. I watched the muscles in his shoulders tense and relax, as if he was fighting himself. Finally he spoke. If what you said is true, your family will use any legal route to claim him. They'll call you unstable, accuse you of kidnapping, fabricate evidence. I nodded weakly. They've done it before. He turned back to me, eyes sharp, calculating. Then the only way to stop them is to make it impossible for them to touch you. My brows furrowed. What do you mean? He took a deep breath, stepping closer. Marry me. I blinked. What? Marry me, he repeated, voice steady this time. If you become my legal partner, no one, not your family, not the labs, not the law, can take Eli from you. From us. I'll make sure of it. The room spun. Liam, you can't mean that. I do, he said firmly. As my mate and my husband, you and Eli will fall under my name, my pack's protection. No one will dare to touch you again. I stared at him, heart racing. You're asking me to marry you out of obligation. He didn't flinch. I'm offering you safety. That's what you came here for, isn't it? The words stung more than I expected. I wanted to scream that it wasn't just safety I wanted. That part of me still longed for him, still remembered how it felt to be in his arms. But that was selfish. This wasn't about love. It was about survival. Still, my voice came out small. You don't have to do this. He stepped closer, so close I could feel the faint heat radiating from him. Yes, I do, he said softer now. Because whether I want to admit it or not, I can't watch another man take my son. Or take you. My chest tightened painfully. You're saying this isn't about love. His gaze dropped to the floor. No, he said. It's about protection. But the way his voice trembled told me otherwise. I turned my head, trying to hide the tears in my eyes. If I agree, what happens after? After? Yes. When it's over. When they're gone. Will you want us to leave again? He looked at me for a long moment, then shook his head. No. Once you're mine, you stay mine. A chill ran down my spine. Not from fear, but from the way he said it. Possessive. Final. He moved past me, pressing the intercom on his desk. Cancel all my appointments for the rest of the week. I want legal to draft a marriage contract. Urgent. The secretary's voice crackled faintly in reply, but I barely heard it. My thoughts were spinning too fast. Was I really doing this? Marrying the man I broke, just to save the child he never knew existed? Eli tugged my hand gently, pulling me back to reality. Papa, he whispered. Is that man going to help us? I looked at Liam, the cold alpha who once loved me enough to fight the world, and nodded slowly. Yes, baby. He's going to protect us. Liam's eyes softened at the word Papa. For a brief second, I saw the boy I once loved hiding behind the man he'd become. Then his phone buzzed. He answered curtly, voice clipped and professional. But I caught a glimpse of his hand, the faintest tremble in his fingers. He wasn't as calm as he looked. When he hung up, he said, "You'll stay here tonight. Both of you. It's safer than leaving the building. I'll have someone prepare a room." "Liam." He looked at me sharply. "Please, Noah. Just let me do this." The word please broke me. I nodded slowly. "Okay." He turned away again, his back straight, his voice suddenly cold. "Good. The ceremony will be tomorrow morning." Tomorrow. Everything in me wanted to scream that this was too fast, too surreal, too painful. But when I looked at Eli, my little boy, my reason for living, I knew I couldn't back down now. I didn't sleep that night. Even though the room Liam's assistant gave us was beautiful. Soft white sheets, a city view that glittered like spilled stars. My heart refused to rest. Eli slept soundly beside me, tiny fingers curled around mine. His soft breathing was the only sound that calmed me, a steady rhythm reminding me why I was here. I turned to look out the wide glass window. The skyline glowed faintly under the early dawn. Somewhere beyond those tall towers was my family, cold, greedy people who had ruined everything once and were trying again. And in just a few hours, I'd marry the one man I once loved, the man I'd betrayed to save him. A bitter smile touched my lips. "Fate is cruel," I whispered to the empty room. When the first rays of morning light touched the curtains, there was a knock on the door. I gently pulled away from Eli and answered it. Liam's secretary stood there, holding a box. "Good morning, Mr. Noah. Mr. Voss asked me to bring this. The ceremony will begin at 10. I nodded numbly. She handed me the box and left quietly. Inside was a suit, elegant, white, perfectly tailored to my size. My fingers trembled as I touched the smooth fabric. It reminded me too much of the day I was forced to marry the beta years ago. A day that still haunted me. Back then, I'd worn white too, a symbol of purity, they said. But I'd felt nothing but shame. Now, as I looked at the mirror, the same color stared back at me. But this time, it felt different. Not pure. Not shameful. Just hollow. When Eli woke up, his hair was a wild mess. He rubbed his eyes and yawned. "Papa, why are you dressed so pretty?" I smiled softly, kneeling to fix his shirt. "Because we're going somewhere important, baby." "Where?" I hesitated. "To see your papa's friend. He's going to help us." Eli grinned, still half asleep. "The nice man from yesterday?" My throat tightened. "Yes. Him." He nodded innocently and went back to playing with his toy car. I wished I could protect his smile forever. The ceremony was held in Liam's private penthouse. No guests. No decorations. Just a government officiant, 2 signatures, and a heavy silence that filled every corner. I stood beside him, my palms damp. Liam was breathtaking in black, crisp suit, silver tie, his expression unreadable. He looked every bit the powerful alpha he'd become. When he looked at me, though, something flickered in his eyes. Something that didn't belong to the cold CEO everyone feared. The officiant cleared his throat and began reading the vows. My heart pounded in my ears. "Do you, Liam Voss, take Noah Hale as your legal mate and spouse?" "I do," Liam said, his voice steady deep. It sent a shiver through me. When it was my turn, my throat went dry. I do." The officiant handed us the rings. Liam took my hand first, his touch gentle but firm. As the ring slid onto my finger, I could feel his pulse, strong and fast, betraying the calm on his face. When I tried to return the gesture, my hand trembled. He caught it, steadying me silently. His warmth lingered longer than necessary. When the final papers were signed, it was done. We were married. Again. But this time, there were no cheers, no witnesses, no family. Just 2 broken people trying to rebuild something that no longer fit right. The officiant left, leaving us alone in the penthouse. For a moment, we both just stood there, unsure of what to say. Eli ran toward us, clutching his toy car. "Papa, are we safe now?" Liam knelt down, smiling softly. The first real smile I'd seen from him in years. "Yes, little one. No one can hurt you now." Eli beamed and threw his arms around Liam's neck. Liam froze for a second, startled, then slowly hugged him back. Something in my chest twisted painfully. The sight was too beautiful, too dangerous. Because the man I'd told myself to fear was beginning to feel like home again. Later, when Eli was napping in the guest room, I found myself sitting alone in the kitchen. The city below glowed orange with sunset light. My head throbbed from everything that had happened. Then I heard footsteps behind me. Liam entered, sleeves rolled up, no tie, his hair slightly messy, the look I used to love most. He poured himself a glass of water and leaned against the counter, watching me. You haven't eaten. I'm not hungry. He frowned. You need to stay strong for Eli. Don't starve yourself. There was concern in his voice, real concern, and it disarmed me. I looked down at my hands. You don't have to pretend to care. I know this marriage isn't real. He set the glass down with a soft clink. Don't say that. Why not? You said it yourself. This is about protection, not love. He walked closer until I could feel his breath against my hair. Maybe it started that way, he said quietly. But things change, Noah. I turned to face him. You mean you're still angry? I am, he admitted. But that doesn't mean I stopped caring. His words caught me off guard. For a moment, neither of us moved. His eyes softened, and I felt that same pull. The one I thought I'd buried years ago. Then his phone buzzed on the counter. The moment shattered. He answered quickly, his voice hard again. Yes, what? When? His expression darkened instantly. Keep him there. I'm on my way. I frowned. What happened? He hung up, jaw tight. Your family sent someone to the building. My blood ran cold. What? Don't panic, he said firmly. My men caught him before he got close. He said he was a messenger, but I know better. I stood, my heart racing. They found us already? It seems so. His eyes were sharp again, the cold alpha resurfacing. But they won't reach you here. I'll make sure of it. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But a small part of me still trembled with fear. My family always got what they wanted. He noticed the look in my eyes and sighed. Noah, you're safe now. You have my name, my mark, my protection. They can't touch you. I nodded slowly. I know. My voice broke. I don't want Eli to live in fear. Liam's gaze softened again. He stepped closer and cupped my cheek gently. His thumb brushed away a tear I hadn't realized had fallen. You won't have to run anymore, he whispered. I met his eyes, and for the first time in years, I saw the warmth I thought I'd lost forever. But before I could say anything, Eli's small voice echoed from the hallway. Papa? Liam. He appeared, rubbing his eyes, holding his stuffed bear. I had a bad dream. Without thinking, Liam crouched and lifted him into his arms. You're okay, little one. No one's going to hurt you. Not while I'm here. Eli rested his head on Liam's shoulder, eyes half closed. You promise? I promise, Liam said quietly. And in that moment, I saw it. The way his arms tightened protectively around Eli. The way his eyes softened completely. This wasn't just an act. He wasn't doing this out of duty anymore. Something was changing in him. In us. As I watched them together, I realized the cold alpha I once knew wasn't cold at all. He was just hurt. And maybe, just maybe, I could heal that part of him again. But before hope could fully take root, a sharp knock echoed through the penthouse door, loud, urgent. Liam instantly went tense. His eyes flicked toward the security screen, and his entire expression hardened. He whispered, Stay with Eli. Don't open the door. Liam, who is it? I asked, my heart pounding. He hesitated. Someone from your past. Then he walked toward the door. And as the lock clicked open, I heard a voice I hadn't heard in years. One that made my blood freeze. Noah, darling. The voice drawled smoothly. Did you really think you could hide my son forever? My world tilted. It was him. My ex-husband. The moment I heard that voice, every drop of blood in my body turned to ice. That smooth, arrogant tone, I could never forget it. It haunted my nightmares for years. My ex-husband. The beta my family forced me to marry. The man who treated me like property. Liam's body went completely still in front of the door. His sharp eyes narrowed, like a predator sensing danger. I held Eli tightly against my chest, heart racing. I wanted to hide him, to keep him far from that monster. Then the door swung open. He walked in, perfectly dressed, his smug smile as cold as I remembered. Noah, he said softly, like a man greeting an old possession. You've been difficult to find. Get out, I hissed before I could stop myself. He tilted his head. That's not very polite. After all, I'm still your husband. You're nothing to me. I snapped, my voice shaking. Before he could respond, Liam stepped forward, blocking his view of me completely. You heard him, Liam said in a dangerously calm voice. Leave. My ex smirked, his eyes glinting with malice. You must be the cold alpha everyone fears. Liam Blackthorne, I suppose. I should congratulate you. Stealing another man's spouse takes courage. Liam's eyes turned dark. Say that again. The beta only grinned wider. Oh, I will. Especially when I take back what's mine, the boy. His gaze flicked toward Eli. The child is my heir. My heart nearly stopped. Don't you dare. Oh, but it's true, he continued cruelly. On paper, you're still my mate. Which means the child you had during our marriage belongs to me. That's where you're wrong. Liam's tone could have frozen fire. Eli isn't yours. And he never will be. The beta laughed mockingly. You think your money gives you power over bloodlines? No, Liam said, stepping closer, his alpha aura filling the room like a storm. The truth does. Liam's jaw tightened. You came here for something. Say it and get out. He chuckled lowly. I came for what's mine. My stomach dropped. We have nothing that belongs to you. He turned his gaze toward me again, smiling cruelly. Oh, but you do. That little boy you're hiding behind you, he's my legal heir. The court records still list you as my spouse, Noah. Which means that child is mine, Liam interrupted, his voice sharp as steel. For a heartbeat, no one moved. The air grew thick, heavy with tension. My ex-husband sneered. You think your money and status will scare me? No, Liam said, stepping forward until they were nearly nose to nose. But my power will. And so will the truth. The truth. Liam turned slightly, meeting my eyes. Noah, it's time he heard it from you. My hands trembled, but I knew he was right. I couldn't hide anymore. I stepped forward, still holding Eli close. You never even touched me, I said coldly. Our marriage was a business deal to control my family's company. You used me, abused me, but you never claimed me, and Eli isn't your child. He frowned, confusion flashing across his face. That's impossible. The doctors. I cut him off. I was already pregnant when I married you. The color drained from his face. What? Eli is Liam's son, I said firmly. And I would die before I ever let you lay a finger on him. The beta's expression twisted with rage. You lying little. Before he could finish, Liam grabbed his collar and slammed him against the wall. I'd choose your next words very carefully, Liam growled, his alpha dominance flooding the room like a thunderstorm. You will not threaten him in my home. You will not speak his name again. And if you ever come near my family, he leaned in closer, voice like fire, I'll make sure you disappear permanently. The beta's confidence faltered. For the first time, he looked genuinely afraid. You think you can stop me? He hissed. Liam smiled coldly. I already have. He nodded toward the security camera in the corner. Everything you said was recorded. My legal team has been waiting for this. In less than an hour, every hidden crime your company's committed will be in the hands of the press. The beta's face went pale. You. Liam released him roughly. Get out before I change my mind. He stumbled toward the door, fury and fear mixed in his eyes. Before leaving, he turned to glare at me one last time. You'll regret this, Noah. No, I said quietly, stepping beside Liam. The only ones who'll regret anything are you, and my family, once the world learns what they did. He turned toward me, shocked. You wouldn't dare. I already have. My voice shook, but I held my head high. I recorded everything. Every conversation, every transaction you forced me to sign. Liam made sure it's all in safe hands now. For once, my ex-husband had no reply. He looked at Liam, at me, and saw that he'd already lost. He turned and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the floor trembled. When he was gone, silence fell, thick, heavy, unreal. Liam turned toward me, his sharp expression melting into concern. Are you all right? I nodded weakly, tears sliding down my cheeks. I can't believe it's finally over. Liam stepped in front of me again, voice cold. He'll regret breathing your name. The beta froze, then turned and left. The door slammed shut behind him. For a long moment, the room was silent except for the sound of my trembling breath. Liam turned toward me, his expression softening instantly. He's gone. My knees gave out. He caught me before I hit the floor, his arms wrapping around me tightly. I thought I'd never be free of him, I whispered against his chest. You are now, he said softly. You and Eli both. Tears finally spilled down my cheeks. Thank you. He pressed his lips to my forehead, gentle, lingering. You never have to thank me for protecting what's mine. Eli peeked out from behind me, his small eyes wide. Papa, is the bad man gone? Liam nodded and knelt to his level. Yes, little one. He'll never come back again. Eli smiled sleepily and hugged him tight. Then we're safe now. Liam's eyes softened. Yes. Safe. It's been a year. The sky was painted gold, the air warm with summer light. Eli's laughter echoed across the Blackthorn estate garden as he ran through the grass, chasing butterflies. He looked so free, no shadows, no fear. Just light. I sat beneath the gazebo, watching him, my heart full. Behind me, Strong arms slid around my waist. "Good morning, husband," Liam murmured against my ear. I smiled, leaning into his chest. "You're back early." "Couldn't stay away," he said, pressing a kiss to my neck. "Especially when I heard today's the anniversary of our fake marriage." I laughed softly. "You remember?" "How could I forget?" He sat beside me, his hand finding mine. The silver rings on our fingers gleamed in the sunlight. "Do you ever think about them?" he asked quietly. "My family?" He nodded. I exhaled slowly. "Sometimes." After that night, everything had changed. Liam's legal team had unleashed a storm. Evidence of my family's illegal experiments, human trafficking, and financial fraud spread through the media like wildfire. Within a week, my father was arrested. My mother fled the country, only to be caught a month later. My older brother, the one who orchestrated most of it, was sentenced to life in prison. Their empire crumbled overnight. And for the first time, I felt free. "I used to dream of this day," I said quietly. "The day I could stop running." Liam's thumb brushed the back of my hand. "You don't have to dream anymore. You're home now." I smiled softly. "Home." Eli's voice called from the yard, bright and joyful. "Papa. Daddy. Look." He held up a jar filled with butterflies. "They like me." Liam chuckled. "Of course they do. You're too kind for them not to." I laughed. "Careful, or he'll start thinking he's magic." "Maybe he is," Liam whispered, kissing my temple. We sat there for a while, watching Eli dance in the sunlight. The wind rustled the trees, carrying his laughter like music. It still amazed me, how everything had changed. The cold alpha I once feared had become my greatest comfort. The man who swore this was just protection had given me love instead. "Liam," I murmured after a while. I love you." He turned to me, eyes soft and full of something infinite. "I love you more." He leaned in and kissed me, slow, tender, deep. The kind of kiss that felt like a promise, not of safety, but forever. When we pulled away, Eli ran toward us, his arms full of flowers. "For Papa and Daddy," he giggled. Liam laughed and lifted him into his arms. "You're our sunshine, you know that?" Eli giggled, wrapping his tiny arms around our necks. "Then we'll always shine together." I smiled, tears pricking my eyes. "Always." And as the three of us stood there, bathed in golden light, I realized something. Fate hadn't been cruel after all. It had just taken the long way to bring me home.